Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Roshaunda Green. I'm your host of the Rangam LinkedIn Career Chat session. And today I'll be talking about college graduate search tips. So let's get right into it. Let me tell you about this awesome company that I work for. Rangam, we're a global staffing company and we focus on connecting qualified candidates with our great clients to take you from job seeker to employee. So during this chat, I'll be doing my best to get you employed and prepared for interviews and job searches and career guidance. So let's get right into our resume sweepstakes. So at Rangam, we started a resume sweepstakes contest April the 1st. It's been doing very well. So I extended it to August the 1st, and I'm pretty sure I'll keep extending it because we're getting great candidates to win some great prizes. And it's so easy. All you have to do is go to rangam.com, set up your candidate profile, upload your resume, and follow Rangam on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I randomly select a different winner every week. So hopefully you'll be one of the next winners. Okay. And look at our prizes. Who doesn't want a Rangam umbrella? Then we have a cool shirt. We have a cup, we have a portfolio and a bag. These are all cool things that you can use anytime. All right. So let's get right into those college graduate job search tips. Right. And it's just not college. So if you graduated from a college, university, or certificate or certification program, or upskilled or gain new knowledge, this is information that you can use to really be successful during your job search. So when you gain new knowledge, when you gain new academic knowledge, you want to make sure that you're able to use that academic knowledge to pair with your existing professional knowledge, or if you're just graduating and all you have is internships, and you don't really have any work experience for the degree area or your career focus area. This Today I'll be sharing some great tips there. So the main thing that you need to do is just to really focus. And when I say focus, you really have to know, for each of your, I guess, when you apply for a job and then they select you for that interview, everything has to be focused on that particular job description, that particular company, and, really getting your storytelling abilities together, verbally and written. Everything has to make sense just to even get selected for the interview. So, what I mean by that is that you should be customizing your resume. Okay. And this is what I mean. So, if you're applying for entry level roles, and if it's in business, if you think of business operations, that's the more administrative. So, customer service rep, data entry, administrative assistant, any of those entry level roles are really general. So, usually it'll have the same 3 to 5 skills basically. And all you have to really do is go in there and tweak to make sure that's what's in that job description, and you have that knowledge and experience that you're highlighting those things. Make sure that you're using their words, and make sure that you're aware of what the company is looking for. Okay, because sometimes you can be saying the same thing that they're saying, but they're saying it in a different way. And if you're not using the words that they're using in your resume from that job description, then your resume won't even get pulled in a Boolean search. A Boolean search is when a recruiter will put 3 to 5 keywords in their applicant tracking system, or over 90% of recruiters are using LinkedIn. So they're putting these words in that database, and it'll pull any candidates that applied for that job that have that in their job description. So that is why when I say focus, you're out here, you're applying for a lot of jobs. It can get overwhelming and frustrating, and you may not even be getting callbacks. It's not because of your experience or your academic knowledge. It's just the way that you presented yourself. So that is what I'm trying to get you to focus on now, is focus on that customized resume and highlight at least 3 to 5 skills, for the tasks that you have done in those roles that align with that job description. And in your cover letter, what you want to do is expound or go deeper into those like top 3 skills that's in that job description that you really have extensive knowledge and understanding about. And you want to use your cover letter to highlight some examples. And you're always using metrics in your resume, you're using success metrics, and in your cover letter, you should provide more detail and, like expand on your storytelling to really let them know that you're the perfect candidate for that role. And I cannot say this enough, your LinkedIn profile, every time you update your resume, you need to update your LinkedIn profile. They should mirror each other. Now, on LinkedIn, you will have more opportunities because you can select up to 50 skills. And there, I always tell people select 25 hard skills, 25 soft skills, not being that rigid. But what I'm saying, when you have an option of selecting 50 skills, then you have to bring your holistic self to your LinkedIn profile and also to your resume. So you're making sure that you have some soft skills like, leadership abilities or flexible, adaptable, detail oriented. And then you have the hard skills like Microsoft Office, in the Word, Excel, the PowerPoint, the Access, the Microsoft Project, or if you have Visio or, SharePoint. So a mixture of hard and soft skills should be there. And that is what helps you to stand out. And also, when you're doing your research about the company, then if you see anything that aligns to your department or your area of interest, then be sure to let that stand out in your cover letter and even in your discussion during the interview. Okay. And be flexible. So, when I'm saying flexible is not saying, oh, I'm a team player, I can adapt or pivot. What I mean in this sense by being flexible is that you're really excited. Like I said, you just graduated and you have your dream company and your dream job title and your dream salary. And that's what you're laser focused on. You're like, nope, if it's not, that, what I have in mind is not what I want. Right. So if you're thinking about, getting out of college and getting that human resources manager role that's paying, I'll just, throw a number out there, $100,000 a year, at your, target company. And I'll use Rangam because that's where I work and I want everyone to come work with me or for us through our, staffing company. Then if it's not that, then you're not interested. You will actually, you're working against yourself instead of for yourself. You're your biggest enemy in your job search if you're not flexible, if you don't have an open mind, if you're not being realistic, right? And that's where you always have to be able to be realistic with yourself to say, you know what, I have a degree. I don't have any work experience. I have, some internships. But, I definitely should be able to get the job, the pay, and work at the company I want to, and, without any experience because I have this academic knowledge. So, this is where you have to think of your foundation. Academic knowledge is a good foundation, right? But if you don't have that corporate execution, then you really don't have any proof that you are knowledgeable in, successfully executing these tasks, right? So you can talk about academic knowledge and theory all day and projects and case studies and, research. You can talk about that all day. But unless you get in a real life situation in the workplace, then you really have no idea how you're going to navigate that. So just take a deep breath, pull back, celebrate your academic accomplishments, and just go into your job search with an open mind. Stay in the roles that say entry level that require 0 to 3 years, right? Those jobs, they're letting you know that will train you, will help you get acclimated. You'll be, working with a lot of subject matter experts to gain the knowledge to build to a layer on your foundational academic knowledge. So you're getting introduced to the corporate execution, right? And in that entry level area, that's where you should have laser focus. Okay. So just be realistic about the job title that you're applying for, making sure you're at least 80% qualified for that role. And there's a 20% stretch, which is a growth opportunity for you to grow into the role. Okay. Be very realistic about salary. Okay. So if it's entry level and you don't have experience, then you have to govern yourself accordingly. And I'll just say that. So what I always tell people is when they ask you what is your salary requirements, my salary is completely negotiable and flexible, and I'm open to a conversation. I just really want to gain some job knowledge and work for this, amazing company, and just contribute as much as I can with the knowledge, the academic knowledge I have, and my enthusiasm and energy and positive attitude. That's where you have to be. And just be open even to the company, right? It's great to work for a global company. I work for a global company, and I'm gaining a lot of experience and knowledge, and I've been working for global companies for years, so it's always good to get that international perspective. And working for a national company is great because you're working with people internally and externally in different states, so you're learning different laws, different procedures, and how to be successful in those areas. Okay. So just look, and if you're working for a local company and you're fresh out of college, that is a great thing. You know why? Because at a local company, everybody's going to be doing everything. You're going to get so much experience in those small companies because everyone is wearing multiple hats. So that really helps you to be flexible and adaptable, and to really get a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas. So always think of the positive, long term and short term, that you get out of each experience. And just be grateful and thankful. And you go in there and you give 1,000% and do your best, and you can excel in any size company or organization, right? And just going in with that positive attitude. But you have to change your mindset and your attitude during the job search, because if you just take a job just to take it, and you're always looking for that next thing, that means you're not even present in the job that you're in. That means that you're missing opportunities to make the most of where you are. You're not really fully engaging with the people that you're working with, regardless of their title, whether they're peers or managers or executives. You should be present and focusing on giving all you have to the opportunity that is presented to you. So let's just get that together, and then your job search, you won't put unrealistic expectations on yourself. You'll probably start getting more callbacks and interviews because you're level set your expectations, and you're applying for jobs that you're actually qualified for. Okay. And be creative. So, what do I mean by this? So, I know that this global pandemic changed a lot of things. So, for some of you that had internship opportunities that were on site, and the opportunities were canceled because of COVID, and everyone had to work virtual, or some companies ended all internships because they were trying to maintain their corporate headcount just to save the employees jobs they have. Some companies didn't make it out of it, so everyone had to scale back, so that internship opportunity that you were counting on to get some of that corporate experience or experience in your area of expertise has now been eliminated. And some of you were able to continue your internships in a virtual environment, which is great because a lot of companies are now 100% virtual. And some companies are saying you never have to come, into the workplace. And some are saying you can work anywhere and work for us. So that's great that during your internship you were able to, experience that virtual work environment and get, comfortable and acclimated to that. And that probably was really similar to your academic experience, because I know a lot of, colleges and universities, they, had everyone, completing their coursework virtually. So that gave you an opportunity to get disciplined and comfortable in that virtual space. But for those of you who still felt like you didn't have an opportunity to have that on-site interaction and work experience, or to gain some skills or a comfort level to properly prepare you for the workplace, you can actually look at nonprofit organizations in your area where you can not only help people and connect yourself to something bigger than yourself, but you can also gain some great work experience. And the great thing about volunteering at a nonprofit organization is that they're just looking for people who are willing to commit time and energy and effort. And you can just gain some great leadership skills. So if you got a marketing degree and you just really want to expand that knowledge and execute it in a work environment that will get you ready for your job, then volunteering your marketing skills at a nonprofit organization is a great thing to do. And you may have an opportunity to maybe lead a team there, or lead a project or an initiative, or an event. It's just you have to think of ways as if my first plan didn't work out. You just have to think. And for me, I'm just a proactive person. The same way on, when I talk about your job search, when you should be at least 80% qualified for the job and 20% stretch and growth, I like to be 80% proactive so that I can control all of the situations around me. And then that 20% that may have to be reactive is it's still setting me up for success, because the bulk of the information or the preparation is all set. So that 20% reactive mode that I have to go in, it doesn't sabotage me or set me up for failure. So the same thing I think of all the time. What's my plan A? What's my plan B? What's my plan C? And in this environment that we're in now, do you need a plan D, E, and F? Maybe all the way to plan Z. But just always be ready for whatever pivots or, curves or hurdles or obstacles that you have to overcome. Right. So if I didn't get my on site internship and I need some experience and I want to, prepare myself, then I would start looking at volunteering at nonprofit organizations. Right. And maybe you can volunteer at more than one while you're going through your job search and you have this time right now. This is a great time. Or even if you were in, the corporate workplace and you were furloughed or laid off, or your job was eliminated, or the company shut down, keeping the skills, current and upskilling, volunteering at nonprofit organizations in different capacities, really, and then you add that on your resume as a recruiter, that shows me that you're a lifelong learner, that you're focused on keeping your career, on track, right? Because they always ask that question, please explain this skills gap. And I was looking for gainful employment, and I was doing, job searches and interviews during this time. And that's usually, what people say, right? But what if you don't have a skills gap, because that time is filled with volunteering at nonprofit organizations where you're gaining skills, leadership skills, and technical skills, and people management skills, and you don't have a gap. You have a gap for because you're not getting paid because you're volunteering, but at least you don't have a gap on your resume. So there's a lot of things that are very helpful here. And at the same time, like I said in the beginning, when you start helping underprivileged people, and focusing on helping them, then you are less focused on your problems, and it really makes you grateful and have more gratitude for what you have, that you maybe some things that you took for granted. And that can also help you during your job search, because it's very stressful, it's overwhelming, you can get depressed, anxiety about the bills are piling up, when I'm going to find my next job. And then when you're volunteering and helping people that have less than you or nothing, and then you're able to see how much you should be grateful for. So that's just a holistic wellness tip too. Okay, so for the interview. Now I know, so I'm an extrovert, and I know some people say, if you're an introvert, just asking someone for something is just overwhelming. Well, guess what? For an extrovert, it is too, because we're all in the same boat. Whenever you ask someone for something, they can say yes or they can say no. And yes feels good to everyone, and no does not feel good to everyone. It doesn't matter what your personality type is. But that's just something that you just always have to put yourself out there, think outside the box, and you have to be uncomfortable during any growth opportunity, right? You're not going to be comfortable doing things that you've never done before. That's just not natural. You're going to have to make yourself uncomfortable and get used to putting yourself out there. So ask for an informational interview, right? So if it's a company that you want to work for, and you do research on their social media websites, probably LinkedIn, and you go to they'll have employees or people. I think on LinkedIn they call it people. And if you want to work in, human resources or recruiting or finance or whatever, department or accounting, or whatever industry you want to work in, then maybe you find someone that works at that company. You reach out to them on LinkedIn and ask them, can you do an informational interview with them to learn more about their role or the company, right? And they'll either say yes or no. And I think that we have to be really careful about how we process a no. Okay. So a no just can mean I am really busy. I have a lot on my plate and I just don't have time to contribute to that. Okay. No can also mean maybe their personality type, maybe they can be very shy and really don't feel comfortable connecting with people that they don't know. So don't always think of a no as is they're rejecting me, right? Just always think positive. Okay, well, maybe they're busier or they don't have time or don't feel comfortable with this. Just let it go and just reach out to someone else. But another thing is that I know a lot of people ask me for informational interviews, right? I'm an extrovert. I have a big heart. I just try to help everyone. I put myself in someone else's shoes and say, if I were them, then what would I want, someone to do for me? So I always extend myself to the best of my ability. Not saying that I'll do, anything anyone asks me, but to the best of my ability, I'll try to help. But one thing that I notice is when I say yes to, an informational interview, my LinkedIn profile and all of my, social media platforms is very detailed. I have told my story from my first job, while I was in college, all the way to my current job. So the thing that, I always have to pause and say, did the person even look at my LinkedIn profile? Because they're asking me questions that are already available on my profile. And I'm literally like telling them what my career journey has been when it's already there. So, what I mean by that is if you reach out to someone and ask them for an informational interview, then don't ask them questions that they can already see on your social media platform. Right. So if you ask me about, tell me about, your past jobs, it's right there, right there on my LinkedIn profile. So if you're asking me something, ask me something that's not readily available to you. Or if you're asking me a question about a company that I'm working for that you want to work for, and you're asking me stuff that's already on that company's website or that they've shared on their social media platforms, that means that you haven't even prepared for this opportunity that's been offered to you. So you may be hurting yourself other than helping yourself with this informational interview. Because if you do an informational interview with me and you ask me some really specific, focused questions, and you want to get more knowledge on something that you've already seen. So I saw that you guys posted this, or I noticed that you worked here. Can you tell me more? Don't ask me like, "Oh, you worked here," and don't ask me what was in my job, just my profile. Ask me something deeper. So if someone gives you that opportunity for an informational interview, you come, you do your research, and you use that time to the best of your ability. Because every informational interview that you do, they know the recruiters, they know the hiring managers, and they can share your resume and profile and highlights from that informational interview with them. So you're actually interviewing for an interview. Okay. So use that time wisely. Don't ask, those questions that are already answered in their profiles, right? So that's one thing that you really have to do. And try to get, in as many of those as possible. And then always follow the companies once you apply for a job, start following that company on all their social media platforms, liking, sharing, commenting on their post, and being very active, because the executives, HR, the social media team, the recruiters, they all see that information, and they can see how active you are interviewing before the interview. Okay, now shadowing. So shadowing is a great experience, but there may be some unique dynamics that may not allow that to always happen. Okay, because for me, in the past I worked in, human resources, and there may be some confidential information that if you wanted to shadow me, then I wouldn't be able to, share a day in the life, right? It would have to be an organized, strategic kind of agenda. So a lot of companies, they do have, intern opportunities where you can, come on site for the day, and they have speakers and they have activities, and everything is structured so that, you're not exposed to any confidential information, and everything is organized in a way that will give you the best experience with that company. So definitely look for those days. But then even reaching out to subject matter experts in different organizations and asking them to shadow you. Maybe they'll say, well, because of my job, you actually can't come to meetings with me or see my information, but maybe you can have lunch with me. Or now that COVID, I don't know, the numbers are spiking, everything is, kind of still in a whole pattern of COVID. Maybe it's a virtual coffee, or maybe it's a virtual interaction where they have an opportunity to really provide you some examples of what they do. And it'll be a virtual session or something like that. But try to, get some of those job shadow opportunities, whether it's virtual or on site, or, finding a creative way to connect with those subject matter experts to get the information that you need. And then when I talk about, volunteering, I just have to continue to reiterate that because it is valuable. And another way where you're connecting with people, so you're connecting with like-minded subject matter experts in the volunteer community, but a really targeted way to focus that is groups. And I tell you, throughout my career, whatever, job I'm in, I look at finding, groups in that industry. Whatever specific job title I have, I look at finding groups, in that, job title. And then, my likes and things like that. So when I say, finding the groups on LinkedIn, you can start typing in, like, I'm an account manager, and then I'm, working, with a lot of recruiting efforts. I'm, diversity and inclusion. I'm an African American. I'm a woman. I'm usually working, under the human resources division. Right. So then you layer these groups. You see how I'm going deeper and deeper in the layers? So then you start typing that in LinkedIn, and you can join up to 50 groups, and make sure you diversify your groups, right? So I want to have, a couple of groups that touch everything that, provides me with knowledge and connections to help me to grow, to help me to learn, to help me be better in my craft. The same thing on my Facebook page, I find, those same types of groups. And, when I'm on Twitter, I follow, certain hashtags and certain people. On Instagram, I, connect and follow with the people. And even on TikTok, I look at those hashtags that I need to follow that will help me, get connected with the right people. So it's all about, that networking, that acquiring knowledge, that, being with like-minded people that are trying to gain the same information that you have, or even educate you to continue to help you to upskill and learn. And that is what will help all of you, graduates, with your job search, right? Because everything that I shared with you is, really getting a strategic, laser focused process in place. Okay. So now you have all these job search tips. You're like, I'm ready to work. Okay. So when you go to rangam.com, and every company has different categories. Okay. So I wanted to give you the example of our categories. If you go on rangam.com, that this is where you'll search for these jobs. Okay. So we have an operations category. Some companies may call it, business or administrative. We have a warehouse. Some people may call it industrial. We have a clinical and scientific. Some may call it medical or pharmaceutical. We have finance, some may call it finance or accounting, and we have, IT. And some, companies may call it, technical programs or something like that. But when you go look under categories, then it's good to know the jobs that you'll see out there. So I just pulled, some of our main jobs that we usually always have available under these different categories, and it's broken out in 2%. And you'll see that our IT is 49% because we have a lot of IT jobs. Okay, so now we're going to go to the job descriptions, right? So everything that I'm telling you, I'm trying to, really, have that focus on. Go to rangam.com, use the job search tips that I shared with you, and start applying for these great jobs. So what I'll do every other week when I'm on here is I'm pulling the hot jobs in every area. Okay. So in operations, you see that I have a diversity recruiter remote. It's unique because we want that person to have a disability background, connecting with the communities and the candidates that will give us a great candidate pipeline. Change management consultants, talent acquisition lead. Some people may call it recruiting lead. CSR always means customer service rep. Okay. Administrative assistant, data entry clerk, human resources coordinator, marketing specialist. That's just kind of some of the hot jobs, and you see the locations that they're in. Okay. In warehouse, we always have assembler, forklift operator jobs in Mechanicsburg and Middletown, Pennsylvania. Okay. Warehouse operator in Kansas, maintenance electrician in Illinois, a service technician in North Carolina, a site superintendent in California. Okay. And now we go up there to our ITs. Now, some of our IT jobs are remote. Some are saying remote until COVID. So that means that you still need to live within a 20 to 40-mile radius of the company so that when they're ready to bring people back, that you can commute, to the on-site location. Okay, so we got a senior IT project manager, IT security analyst, data center technician, um, uh, site reliability engineer, a lot of software engineer jobs out there in different states. I just pulled one. Senior quality engineer, a lot of software developer jobs out there. Data engineer and systems programmer analyst. And I have the cities in the states and a blurb about what you do there. Okay, so then we go into our clinical and scientific. We have so many phlebotomist jobs. Like literally, if you look in almost every state that we have at least 5 to 10 of those jobs, or maybe even 20 in some of the states. Quality control, senior associate, quality lab technician, analytical chemist, and medical screeners. So, unfortunately, now the COVID numbers are spiking back up. So, now we're seeing a lot of those medical screener jobs coming back up. And they usually kind of have you working at the front desk, checking temperatures and documenting, the visitors. Payroll under finance, we have payroll specialist, accounts payable specialist, supply chain coordinator, billing clerk, and accounts receivable settlement specialist. Okay, so hopefully this is really convincing you to go to Rangam.com. So you can always reach out to me. I'm Roshaunda Green at I'm an account manager at Rangam. My email address is Roshaunda@Rangam.com. I am on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Clubhouse. And you can also find Rangam on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And we also have a division of Rangam called SourceAbled. At SourceAbled, we focus on connecting qualified candidates with autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities with our clients who have autism at work programs or provide accommodations for these unique candidates to thrive in the workplace. So you can also follow sourceable.com. And we're always posting jobs and news and job search tips and career development opportunities and resume and interview tips. We just really want to provide you with everything that you need to be successful in your job search, so you can come to us. You can come to us and apply for our jobs, and then we connect you with our great clients, and you go from job seeker to employee. So I know we went a little over. It's supposed to be 30 minutes, but it was just so much advice that I had to provide more detail. So thank you for hanging in there with me, and I'll see you during the next chat. Thank you for your time. Share this with others who would benefit from it, and invite others to join you next time. Thank you. Bye.